again, and welcome to News Track on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koka, and these are the stories we're tracking for you this hour. President Bola Tinubu has assured military officers of his administration's commitment to equipping the armed forces with modern military hardware that will enable them tackle contemporary and emerging security challenges confronting the nation. President Tinubu was represented by the Senate President Govt at the 2025 Nigeria Defense Academy passing out parade ceremony of cadets of 72 regular course and 48 short service course of the Nigeria Defense Academy in Kaduna State. He urged the military officers to uphold the principles of the force and the fatherland.
You must remember that the goal of the insurgents and terrorists remains to counteract our development reforms by creating counter-states. Yours is to safeguard the economic and core values of our nation, to prevent the collapse of the economy and revitalize our armed forces despite the enemy's indiscriminate violence and baseless propaganda to orchestrate their threats against the Nigerian state. You must never, at any time, lose sight of the vision of the founding fathers of our dear nation, irrespective of the multiple complex security challenges facing our country today. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me now to direct my attention to our graduating cadets, the heroes, keenly awaited by the nation. Gentlemen cadets, I congratulate you again on this most memorable day of your lives. As you begin your journey and career as officers in the armed forces of Nigeria today, there is no better time to prove your valor and demonstrate the virtues upon which this academy was founded in the defense of our fatherland. I trust you to do so with uncompromising dignity, honor, and professionalism. Your convergence here symbolizes our national unity, for you were all admitted into this academy from 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. And of course, we are delighted to note that other countries are also with you to coexist and master the arts and science of building and defending your fatherland and your nations.
Ahead of the 2027 general elections, the North Central Renaissance Movement is asking political parties to zone their presidential tickets to the North Central. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the national coordinator of the movement, Professor Ngagbu Kutso, says all political parties need to zone their presidential tickets to the North Central in the interest of equity and justice. He explains that the North Central Zone has always supported the other zones to produce the president. So the North Central Zone deserves their support in order to produce the next president by year 2027.
"2027 is topical, is on the front burner, and is evolving as a major political subject as we keep nosediving towards the election year. Today we found it dutiful, an act of responsibility towards our people, towards our growing democracy of over 25 years now, and of course, for the good of national cohesion, national coherence and harmony, to once more make an appeal to the effect that the North Central geopolitical zone makes requests, makes demand that political parties should cede or rather consider giving a political human capital or human resource from North Central geopolitical zone, their presidential ticket.
The Plateau state government has rescued 16 children who were trafficked from Bassa local government area to Anambra State and has also reunited them with their families. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Caroline Dafoe, who disclosed this in Jos, said the children aged between 4 and 9 were trafficked from Plateau to Anambra, noting that the suspect behind the case has been arrested. Dafoe described the rescue as a significant step in the fight against child trafficking, stressing that the government is committed to defending the rights of the vulnerable. Receiving the children on behalf of Bassa local government, wife of the council chairman, Miriam Riti, says measures have been taken to ensure their well-being, including medical checks, school enrollment, and monitoring through community leaders. The commissioner called on the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity. The Zamfara State chapter of the National Association of Nurses and Midwives has commenced a 6-day warning strike across state-owned general hospitals. Chairman of the union, Sani Shehu, says the action was taken to draw the attention of the state government to their grievances over the new Consolidated Health Salary Structure, CONHES. He explained that while the state government approved a new salary structure for the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure, CONMES, in June, it neglected the CONHES structure. Shehu noted that the union had made several follow-ups and engaged the government up until August, but without any positive outcome.
We are embarking our suspended strike. As I told you, we suspended this strike on 11 September after engaging for only 24 hours when government engaged us. And now remember, it's only strike. We have 6 days to complete. So we are starting our remaining 6 days, starting from today till Thursday, 2nd October 2025. But if anything came, we are good citizens of Zamfara State. We need people to stay happily and people to enjoy the dividend of health sector. If anything comes across us at any time, we are ready. Our doors are open. And we are here to listen to anybody that wants to talk to us. Our phones are open and our doors are open to listen to people.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has launched a new policy and roadmap for the elimination of trans fatty acid, TFA, in Nigeria. The launch, which took place in Lagos, was in collaboration with various stakeholders committed to public health. According to the Director General of the agency, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, the initiative is critical given the high number of deaths attributed to the consumption of saturated fat. She stated that the policy is necessary to protect consumers and regulate producers. The strategy focuses on proper awareness creation and the domestication of the policy at the state level to ensure its widespread and effective implementation.
Many of us in Nigeria think the more the oil in the food, the better it is. No. We should reduce the type of oil. First of all, we should reduce the oil that we use in our foods, but we must ensure that the oils do not have trans fatty acids or saturated fats. And saturated fats cause cardiovascular diseases. Some people will slump, and it's because of cardiovascular problem. WHO has already shown that almost 300,000 deaths every year due to cardiovascular diseases or due to trans fatty acids in oils. Therefore, many countries are now changing the way they think of their foods, and that is what NAFDAC is doing.
So it is one thing to look at the consumers, but it's also those who produce this food, who cook this food, and what practices and kind of the kind of oils and fats that are included, not only in manufactured foods, but also in the foods that we cook and consume at home. So we'll be targeting these different stakeholders and different groups with messages on what is contained in the policy, the harms that this TFA causes, and hopefully get to change behavior, because, you know, it is highly embedded within our culture to cook certain ways. Today you heard examples of going to restaurants and eating foods that has a lot of oils.
The Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has charged residents to always obtain planning permits before embarking on any development. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was represented at the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority 2025 stakeholder engagement by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Sam Egube, warned that attacks on enforcement officials will no longer be tolerated. He says Lagos is both a national and an international gateway, hence the need for orderliness in development in the state, which is in line with global standards.
Professionals in the building industry, real estate developers, senior officials from the Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Head of Service and other key stakeholders have come together for the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority 2025 stakeholders engagement. This engagement is coming days after the Lagos State government demolished structures in trade fair over issues of non-regularization of building approval documents. Government insists that there is no excuse for disregarding building permit approvals.
The level of approved buildings in the state is embarrassingly low. The position of the laws is very clear regarding physical development in the state. It's very, very clear. There shall be no physical development in any part of Lagos State without approval from the planning authority.
And I'm going to use Alaba as a case study because the Honorable Commissioner did mention it. You need to see the massive chunk of land that you have at the trade fair. Over 300 and something hectares of land. And none of the building in that environment has an approval. And we have to plan Lagos. Everything in life is about change. And all of us want change. And everybody is always afraid of that change. The attitude problem of most of us, the professionals, comes in place in this.
One of the speakers highlight areas that LASPPPA must work on to achieve planning permit rebirth in Lagos.
Ignorance is no excuse, but duty compels us to enlighten people so that we may know, because even those we think know do not know adequately.
The State Deputy Chief of Staff and Head of Service urged citizens to obey building laws.
Our roads are now bending to adjust to buildings that have come up. It's not supposed to be like that. So I urge you to please maintain order, maintain discipline. We have to maintain discipline in our society.
We want Lagosians not to see the planning permit as a hassle, but as a shared responsibility and a valuable investment of time and resources, a process that enhances safety for lives and properties, boosts the value of your assets, and supports the orderly growth of our cherished city. Just follow the rules, follow the law, get educated with what our compliance standards are, and you will have peace.
The take from this gathering is that property owners must adhere to building guidelines and obtain all necessary approvals from the government.
President Bola Tinubu has called on Nigerians to stay hopeful, assuring that the economy is now on a recovery path, promising relief and prosperity to citizens who have endured hardship. The president gave this assurance at the historic Makbo Hall in Ibadan during the coronation of the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja. He explained that the tough economic decisions of the past are beginning to yield results. Our correspondent, Bukola Oriowo, reports.
Sons and daughters of Ibadan land, both at home and in the diaspora, describe the coronation as a mother of all celebrations, coming out in full support of their new king. A week-long series of activities climaxes with the crowning of Oba Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land. No expenses spared as the historic Makbo Hall hosts the grand ceremony for the former senator, former governor, and now the foremost monarch of the land.
I hereby present the staff of office.
Governor Seyi Makinde presents the instrument of office to the new king, officially legitimizing his reign.
This is in confirmation of the Plateau recognized status of the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land. I so present.
President Bola Tinubu recalls his long friendship with the monarch and prays for a peaceful and prosperous reign, while assuring Nigerians that the nation is approaching brighter days after enduring hardship.
It's a great honor for me to be here as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to witness your coronation, to witness history, and the history that we shared together. It's my prayer that you will live long and be celebrated as one of the rare gems of history to ascend the throne of your forefathers.
Governor Makinde goes on to describe the coronation as a fulfillment of destiny, a binding force of Ibadan's traditional and sanctioned rights, and a unifying pedestal for the entire city.
History was literally made today. The president landed at Ibadan Airport, the first wide-bodied aircraft ever to land in Ibadan Airport. So I join Oyo State government, sons and daughters of Ibadan land. Your time will bring peace, progress, and prosperity to Ibadan land and to Oyo State.
The new monarch, Rashidi Adewale is grateful to all indigenes of Ibadan, Oyo State and Yoruba land for their support. He pledges that his reign would mark a new era of accountability, responsibility, and service to humanity.
Mr. President, money into Janlogun in Ibadan State. Àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ìyẹn Ìbàdàn. Sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ dìde kẹ́ bá mi kí president pé o ṣé o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ Ìbàdàn dìde.
Tinubu ẹ ṣé o.
President gbà.
President ti dìde ẹ ṣé o.
Ní problem pẹ̀lú National Assembly torí pé káyé pé àwọn kan náà wọn ò gbà ká lọ ní kìbádà ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tá a ní Ìbàdàn state àwọn kan náà tún sọ pé àwọn náà tún fẹ́ ní Ọ̀yọ́ state so omi ó sọ pé gbogbo ní a fẹ́ ká pín Ọ̀yọ́ state sí méjì torí náà mo fẹ́ fi dá lójú pé iṣẹ́ yìí ni màá máa ṣe gbogbo lọ́sàn-án àti lóru.
The event, graced by 5 Southwest governors, former governors, serving ministers, senators, and other dignitaries, showcased Ibadan's rich cultural heritage, resilience, and excellence in its traditional leadership process. Meanwhile, festivities continue across Ibadan to usher in their new king. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
In business, the Corporate Affairs Commission and Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, have agreed to provide free business registration for at least 250,000 micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, across the country. The initiative was announced on Friday by the Registrar General of the CAC, Mr. Hussein Imagaji, during the signing of the MOU on Friday in Abuja between both agencies. The CAC chief said entrepreneurs manufacturers would now be able to obtain certificates seamlessly without delays or middlemen through the Commission's portal. And on his part, the Director General of SMEDAN, Mr. Charles Odi, hailed the initiative as a milestone for small businesses, describing it as one of the big wins of the current administration.
There are disturbing statistics that show that 3 in every 5 businesses die in the first 5 years. One of the reasons why small businesses fail in Nigeria is because they're not structured. The number one step to structuring your business is registering with CSE. And so we are so excited. I think it's one day in the lives of small businesses under our administration, because we were inaugurated together. And in a few weeks will be 2 years. And in 2 years, we've been able to come together to say, what are the problems that are confronting our small businesses? And one of the first things is the business registration. And so we're announcing that 250,000 small businesses from today would be registered free of charge with the CAC.
The Nigeria Customs Service and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria have met over the suspended 4% free on board charge on imported goods. During the meeting, which was held at the MAN Secretariat in Ikeja, the Lagos State capital, the Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Adewale Adeniyi, said that manufacturers bringing in raw materials, machines and spare parts will not have to pay the levy provided they fall under Chapters 98 and 99 of the Nigeria Customs Tariff. The Customs Chief adds that the service has concluded the process of developing a comprehensive framework for establishing one-stop shops that will revolutionize how manufacturers interact with customs and other regulatory agencies. And outside our shores, 2 people have died while attempting to cross the English Channel on Saturday morning. French officials revealed to the international media that the incident happened overnight off the coast of northern France when about 100 people set off by a makeshift boat to try to get to the United Kingdom. Isabel Fradin Thiraud says 60 people from the attempted crossing, including a family of 3 suffering from hypothermia, were rescued and are currently being cared for by civil protection. At least 25 people have died so far this year while trying to make the dangerous crossing in small boats. The U.S. has said it will revoke Colombian President Gustavo Petro's visa after he urged U.S. soldiers to disobey his American counterpart Donald Trump during a speech to the United Nations in New York. The State Department described Petro's remarks at a pro-Palestinian street protest on Friday as reckless and incendiary. The Colombian leader was in the U.S. for the UN General Assembly, where earlier this week he called for a criminal inquiry into the Trump administration's airstrikes on alleged drug trafficking boats in the Caribbean. Colombian media reports that he was already on his way back to Bogota when the U.S. announced it would cancel his visa. On Friday, Petro shared a video on social media of himself addressing a large crowd in Spanish through a megaphone, where he called for the formation of a World Salvation Army, whose first task is to liberate Palestine. He also asked all soldiers in the United States Army not to point their rifles at humanity, but to disobey Trump's order. In the English Premier League, Brentford defeated Manchester United 3-1 at the GTEC Community Stadium, with Igor Thiago scoring a brace and Matthias Jensen getting on the score sheet. Elsewhere, Brighton came from a goal down to defeat Chelsea 3-1 at Stamford Bridge. Crystal Palace pulled off the biggest upset of the day, defeating Liverpool 2-1 at Selhurst Park. In other matches, Leeds United and Bournemouth played a 2-2 draw at Eland Road, while Manchester City hammered Burnley 5-1 at the Etihad. The International Paralympic Committee decided on Saturday to lift a partial suspension of Russia and Belarus imposed since Moscow's 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This decision, taken at the IPC's General Assembly meeting in Seoul, opens the way for Russian and Belarusian athletes to compete under their own flags at the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics next year. However, the decision on which nations compete in the 6 sports on the winter program is governed by the international sports federations that have so far maintained a ban on Russian and Belarusian athletes. Carlos Alcaraz put to bed any injury concerns at the Japan Open, where he moved past Belgian Zizou Bergs 6-4, 6-3 to reach the quarterfinals in Tokyo. The Spaniard tweaked his ankle during his opening round win against Sebastian Baez, but moved freely during his first clash against Bergs to advance after 79 minutes at the ATP 500 hard-court event. The top seed is chasing a tour leading 8th title of the season and arrived in Tokyo in confident mood after winning his 6th major at the US Open earlier this month.
Oh, yes. Alcaraz puts the injury concerns to one side and makes the quarterfinals of Tokyo, dispatching Zizou Bergs in straight sets.
And this is where we drop the anchor on News Track this hour. Thank you for watching. I am Bukola Koka.